This video is sponsored by PokemonStore.com, the best place to get yourself some TCG code cards. They are compatible with TCG Live, and you can of course get everything on the website for 5% off using the coupon code ZapdosTCG. This video is also sponsored by CARDMARKET.com. This is a European platform where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. I personally use it every single day, and you can do it as well. And you can use the referral name ZapdosTCG to help support the channel. This video is also sponsored by PLAYMAT.com. This is a platform where you're able to, of course, create your own custom playmat. They have, of course, capabilities to ship worldwide, and you can get 10% off by clicking the link down below. So definitely check it out. Last but not least is Dragon Shield, the best brand to protect your beautiful cards. You can of course there's links down below for US and European people, and you can of course get your best quality sleeves available, as well as deck boxes and binders. Thanks so much for sticking around with the commercials. I hope you enjoyed today's upload. If you do, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button, and let's get this video going. Sup YouTube, it's ZapdosTCG here, and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On this channel you get daily Pokemon TCG uploads, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new. If you want to improve upon the game, we're going to be talking about the meta game every single week here. And today on the menu we have the Sacramento Regionals results slash an insight at the meta right now, because we had back-to-back regionals, Peoria, Sacramento, and there's Lille Regionals coming up next weekend, which is the regionals I'll be attending to. So we need to take a little bit of a glance on what the meta is looking like and what happened during those two regionals. Was there a shift here and there? What won the regionals, and more. So if you guys are excited for today's upload, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. Only takes one tiny second of your time, but does help out the channel tremendously. And with that being said, Lugia VSTAR won the tournament. The colorless build is actually on fire this time around, and Lugia is just a deck that never seems to be going away. Ever since the Silver Tempest format, people were complaining about, oh, Lugia is so good, Lugia is so good, it will be better with rotation. Well, nothing has changed, to be honest. Lugia is still a dominant force to be reckoned with, now getting access to that Mew EX from the 151 set. Big shout out to Alexander Flatos actually being able to win it all. There was also Arceus Gyarados for some particular reason at the second place. And if we take a look at all these results here, Arceus VSTAR with Gyarados VMAX is also something that was not on my prediction list for sure. Then some lost boxes with Kyogre, as to be expected, because lost box Kyogre actually won the Pittsburgh Regionals, Peoria Regionals that we thought is going to be making it here as well, but Lugia stopped it in its tracks. There was also Gardevoir in that top 8, and that's pretty much it. So 4 Lugia decks in that top 8. That conversion rate is insane. So in this video we're going to be comparing the meta results from actually Peoria all the way to Sacramento. So let's just be taking a glance here during day 1 of Sacramento Regionals. As we see here, there is not like, the decks are almost completely even in meta percentages. There's a lot of Miraidon, Charizard, Lost Box. These were like the most popular decks, but very like close. We had Gardevoir and Chien-Pao, so a lot of like between the 10 and 15% meta share, so not clearly one best deck in the format, which is indicating that the meta is actually really healthy. The only thing that stood out to me is that Lugia only was 8%, and if we take a look at Peoria Regionals, this was the results of Peoria Regionals, Lugia there had 13% meta share, so not only did it drop down in popularity immensely, the crazy thing is that the Lugia build, Carlos Lugia, actually made it all the way to the top 8 and had 4 slots in there. So that conversion rate, if we take a look at this, there's 8%. If we take a look at that, the conversion rate for day 2, it was the exact same thing, also 8%. But from that 8%, 4 of those Lugia decks made it all the way in top 8, making that conversion rate to top 8 incredibly high. So is Lugia great again? The reason why Lugia did so well is that Miraidon really got slapped around. If we take a look at the meta share, it had 13% meta share in day 1, swooped it all the way back to 8%. So lots of Lost Box decks converted really well in Sacramento with 22%. That's almost 1/4 of the decks in day 2 were Lost Box variant, whether it's Kyogre or Turbo Lost Box, or I don't even know if there was a Sablezard in there, but Lost Box was the #1 deck in day 2, making sure that these high percentage of Lost Boxes kept Miraidon down even further, and that opened the door for Lugia to go straight through victory, because Lugia is a great deck all around. Like, I think it's most, yeah, even the Charizard matchup is okay if you know how to pilot it. We have the Mew EX in the late game to copy-paste that attack from Charizard. So that conversion rate from Lugia is insane. Lugia won it all in the end, and in this video we're not going to be talking about the deck list altogether because we're going to be doing that in a separate video. This video is all about checking out the meta percentages and taking a little bit of a look at the future at the Lille Regionals. I think Lugia will see an increase in play, because if people want to be playing a deck and they were doubting Lugia, now the doubt has been lifted, and Lugia is now once again a great play, because people were underestimating the Carlos build of Lugia VSTAR, and it shows. Only 8% played it, and then they converted all the way into day 2, and then 4 of them actually got into that top 8, which is incredible. An incredible conversion rate for Lugia VSTAR. Low amount of people played it, but they converted really well. Another thing we should note here is that Chien-Pao was more popular. If we take a look at Peoria first, Peoria, their Chien-Pao was only 8%. There was a lot of skillful people playing the Chien-Pao, so people grabbed towards the Chien-Pao because they believed in it, and actually it gained 3% meta share from the previous regionals, meaning that Chien-Pao now slides all the way back into the number 5th slot of most popular decks. I am a true Chien-Pao believer, so that brings a smile to my face, because I currently have half of my World's Invitation just purely by playing Chien-Pao, so always a soft spot. Then we see that specific decks will never go away. Think about Gardevoir. It was 12% at Peoria, and it was 11%. Actually, it was 11% at Peoria and 12% at Sacramento, so pretty much even. That 1%, I'm gonna disregard that. So Gardevoir is just always around. There's still a lot of Gardevoir believers. Also, a lot of Australian players made it all the way and did some deep finishes. Like, for instance, Henry Brand played the Gardevoir list as well. Saw that on stream. What else do we see is that Miraidon had 13% meta share in Sacramento, but in Peoria it has 12. So it even was a little bit, tiny little bit more popular, but also evening it out. Then for Charizard, in my opinion, dropped down a little bit from 15% to 14%, so still a lot of Charizard believers. And then Lost Box 14%, and in Peoria it actually was only 10%. So Lost Box gained a huge amount of popularity, and also we did see that Lugia dropped off from player base wise, because not a lot of people played Lugia, but it converted really well. Let's take a look at what the day 2 of the meta analysis of Sacramento looked like when we take those into consideration. So we had day 1 here, Lost Box becoming more popular, Charizard dropped a percentage, Miraidon gained a percentage, Gardevoir gained a percentage, Chien-Pao gained 3% percentage, and then Lugia dropped 5% in meta share. So Lugia dropped off, but eventually won. So you can say that all of these decks are great picks for your upcoming regional tournament. I think there's one more regional left until we go into that Paradox Rift, or no, is there still Toronto Regionals? Anyhow, there's still a couple of regionals left in this specific format, with of course 151 being the latest set out there. So day 2 of Sacramento. This is what the meta share is looking like. So what can we conclude here is that Lost Box, the win rate was through the roof. Although 14% played Lost Box, it actually made it all the way to 22% meta share. So Lost Box had the best conversion rate out of all the decks, going from day 1 to day 2. Charizard dropped down, I think 2%. 2% dropped down. Gardevoir actually dropped down 1% as well. Chien-Pao dropped 1% as well, and then Miraidon got slapped in the face. If we take a look at the conversion rate, I think Lost Box absorbed all those Miraidons. I think the most difficult matchups for Miraidon is Gardevoir, Charizard, and Lost Box, in my opinion. If the path doesn't stick against Charizard, it's going to be bad news for you. If the path doesn't stick against Gardevoir, it's bad news for you, and Lost Box is pretty much always a hard matchup. So you just want to be firing on Lugias, but there were not a lot of Lugias around, so Miraidon didn't perform all that well at this regionals. Yeah, where was Jesse Parker? Where were the squad with the Miraidons that did really well? This time around, we don't see a high win rate for Miraidon there. So drop down 5% during that day 1 to day 2 conversion. Lost Box absorbs so much percentage points, and the rest of the decks seems pretty even. So Chien-Pao wasn't affected from day 1 to day 2. Gardevoir didn't affect too much. Charizard either way. Miraidon dropped off. Lugia stayed the same as well. And Lost Box absorbed all the meta percentages. So if we take that into consideration, let's see what that top 8 looked like. All these decks into consideration. We take a look at the top 8 here. Currently we're looking at Pokestats.live if you were wondering. Yeah. So for Lugia decks, that's 50% meta share. So it went from only 8% to 50% in day, and actually in top 8. That's ridiculous. Lugia, how did it perform so well? Well, just because Miraidon dropped off. So that's if Miraidon was not around, if Miraidon was a little bit more prominent in that like day 2, they weren't slapped around by all the Lost Boxes. I think Lugia eats up Lost Box, Miraidon eats up Lugia, and they just go in circles like that. So we also saw a surprising Arceus with Gyarados VMAX. Gyarados VMAX randomly is weak to lightning, so I don't know how they did it. They farmed probably a lot of decks out there, like the Lost Boxes, what else do they actually eat up, to be honest? Maybe Gardevoir? I don't know. Yeah, it is a very funky deck. I really wonder what that 60 is looking like. Then some Kyogre Lost Boxes in there. So if we take a look at, I think there were 2 Kyogre builds. If we take a look at here, there was Lost Box Kyogre and yeah, Azul also playing that Lost Box Kyogre. So if we take that into account, there was 2 Lost Boxes, and that's 25% meta share was Lost Box Kyogre. So we had 50% Lugia in top 8, 25% Lost Box Kyogre. There was also 12.5% Gardevoir being the only Gardevoir there, and then 12.5% Arceus with Gyarados VMAX. So a very strange top 8. If we are taking a look at the top 8 from Peoria, that was entirely different. Let's just take the results of Peoria Regionals with that. Here we are at Pokestats, the official website. So Peoria, in that top 8, there was, of course, lots of Lost Box as well, but there was more Miraidon and a surprising Chien-Pao and Mew EX DTE. So a little bit more variety than, of course, we had at the regionals in Sacramento. So in Sacramento, 1,427 Masters. In Peoria, a little bit more with rounding it almost up to 1,700 players. Crazy results. And yeah, Lost Box in general and both regionals did really well. So it's always a safe choice to go for Lost Box, it seems. But Lugia farms the Lost Boxes. And if Miraidon is going to get dropped down a little bit in popularity, then Lugia will have a free time. Maybe people will grab towards more some Miraidon because Lugia was so popular. You can say all what you want, but the meta is just a little bit unpredictable right now because there's so many viable tier 1 point, actually tier 1, tier 2 decks that could be winning an entire event. So what else can we say? The highest placing Miraidon was actually 11th place here with Corey, if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah. So Miraidon 10-1-4. It's also still a strong result for Miraidon. Maybe a little bit too much ties for being a Miraidon deck, but that was the highest placing Miraidon. Highest placing Chien-Pao, again, Grand Chen. I wonder if they went back to back with their original 60 that they piloted at the top 8 finish at Peoria. Highest placing Lost Tina, also in that top 16. And also Rapid Strike box getting into that top 16. There was a Rapid Strike box actually getting 9-0, but crumbled down in that day 2 meta field. So if we take a look at specific decks that didn't make top 16, I'm just gonna open up Limitless to see, like, yeah, Limitless. Here we go. Decks. Lost Box got top 16, Lugia, Gardevoir. I think Mew is the surprising one that didn't finish at any top 16, so that makes sense because Kyogre, Lost Box eats up Mew. Charizard eats up Mew. Lugia is also having Drapion, or Drapion, whatever you want to be calling it, eats up Mew. So I think Mew is not well positioned currently. Charizard, also Charizard not in top 16. What happened there? So Charizard is also a deck highly on the radar. The highest placing Charizard was 23. So I wonder what happened to the Charizard believers out there. But so much Lost Box. I think Lost Box was the craziest deck in day 2 altogether. Charizard only top 32. If we take a look at other decks out there, like the Chien-Pao got a top 16 finish, the Miraidon got a top 16 finish, Lost Tina got also a top 16 finish. scroll a little bit further. Let's see what else we came across. So the Mew here, top 32, was the highest placing. So Mew and Charizard didn't perform all that well in my opinion, and that's a very strange combo, by the way. I think Mew also has to dodge. If Gardevoir players know what they do, Gardevoir also has a great time against Mew. So I think Mew only has a great matchup against Chien-Pao, which wasn't all that popular and good in day 2 because the highest placing one is 12th place. So probably Mew is not great going forward. I think if you are playing at the Lille Regionals, wedge decks are good for you. I would say Lost Box is always a safe choice. Lugia, you might add in Dunsparce, yes or no, if you're afraid of Miraidon. Miraidon itself is a great pick, Gardevoir is a great pick, and Chien-Pao. So that's like the 5 decks I would take. Charizard are also great, so that's like 6 decks. Wouldn't take Lostina, hasn't been converting and doing all that well. Wouldn't take the Mew DTE, whatever, because that's like polarized matchups. Wouldn't also take Rapid Strike Box, because if you take Rapid Strike Box with an army of Lugias ahead of you, you're gonna have a bad time. So that's my conclusion going forward with the Lille Regionals. If you just take one of the 6 decks that I recommend, let's say, what's on my radar, what should people be playing if they want to have a great time at Lille Regionals? Lost Box, whether it's Turbo or Kyogre, Lugia, Gardevoir, Charizard, Chien-Pao, and which deck did I forget here? Miraidon. These are the 6 decks that I would personally recommend to people if they're playing at the Lille Regionals. Don't go bothering with the Lostina. Even if you have like a lot of experience with Lostina, it hasn't been confirming all that well, and Lugia just farms it with the Mew EX, being able to copy paste that Lost Impact. What else wouldn't I play? I also wouldn't play Arceus. I don't know how this Arceus deck was able to go this far. Let's check out the matchups. This Arceus came across a lot of Lost Boxes, and Arceus reasonably has a great time against Lost Box. And the Gyarados VMAX, I don't even know why it is that good as it is, but I wouldn't be playing Arceus builds, that's for sure. Definitely like Miraidons could donk you, Lost Box could donk you with Dragonite, Gardevoir just one-shots you. I don't know, I wouldn't be playing any Arceus build, wouldn't be playing any Lostina build, wouldn't be playing Rapid Strike Box. Let's be going a little bit further, more interesting decks from that top 64. We did see Hisuian Zoroark. I think this is also available over at Pokestats. We're going to be taking a look at deck list later down this week. But for now, there's a Hisuian Zoroark in top 64. That was very surprising. And Dialga VSTAR at the 49th place. So those are 2 decks that caught my eye instantly. All the rest, like if we go further to top 128, lots of Charizard lists ending there, so that's something we also lost a Lost Box. Lost Box was literally everywhere on the bottom half of day 2, on the top half of day 2, and yeah, there's a Snorlax block, which is currently not greatly positioned. A Tinglu as well, if this data is correct, a Tinglu as well, but talking about Snorlax block, it's not well positioned. Chien-Pao is playing Clones, Lugia is playing Jet Energies, the Lost Box has too many switch outs. Yeah, I don't think Snorlax block is well positioned, to be honest. Also, Miraidon can attack with literally anything in their deck, which is also super funky. So lots of things to be taken into consideration. For me, this will be the last regionals I'll be playing in this specific format. And then there's Paradox Rift with the Iron Hands to just eat up some games. So let me know what you think about the meta currently. Are you enjoying this wide variety of decks being good in the format? What will you be playing at Lille Regionals on, yeah, or maybe your next League Challenge or League Cup, because this format is still going on for a couple of weeks. So I want to hear your opinions down below. Congratulations again to Alexander Fleitas. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but yeah, we have, of course, Lugia being on the #1 spot again after we saw 2 Lost Box Kyogres winning back-to-back like Pittsburgh and Peoria. Now Lugia's on top. With a high amount of Lugia, will we see a drop and yeah, a decrease of Lost Box players? Who knows, the meta is never ending. It's always shifting and changing, and that's how beautiful this card game is, the Pokemon TCG. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. Rock the hell out of the like button, subscribe for more daily Pokemon TCG uploads, and I thank you all for watching today's video. If you want to be, yeah, check out my sponsor. If you want to create your own custom playmat, you can do that at yourplaymat.com. Link down below. You can get 10% off today if you click that link. So create your own custom playmat from scratch. There's PokeTownStore.com if you want to have some additional codes scanned into your TCG Live account. Use the coupon code ZABLOISTCG for 5% off to get promo codes, booster pack codes for TCG Live, etc. There's CARDMARKET.com for European players. You can buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. Use the referral name ZABLOISTCG to help support the channel. And there is Dragon Shield for your sleeves, binders, deck boxes, etc. There's links down below for people from the US and Europe. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. This meta shift was a little bit crazy in my opinion, loss of Lost Box, but we'll see what happens at the Lille Regional Tournament. Have yourself a blast, and I'll see you all in Lille if you're going. Peace!